Welcome back to another Shadowverse gameplay video. Today we will be looking at Take-Two Arena and with the new Starforged Legends expansion. We're recording after the previous video where we did hit 50,000 points. So it's going to be a nice 50,000 here. We're about to enter the trials. I think I will not attempt this today. I mean, it's nothing big, but I kind of want to enter Masters with a good deck. So we'll go ahead, take a little relaxing break, play some Take-Two Arena. I'll probably be testing some decks in the unranked, and then once I find a deck that's different than the decks I've been playing, maybe not, we'll go ahead and jump into rank, play the trials, see if we can go ahead and get there. I did already open up the screen. We haven't actually selected a leader yet. I don't really know too much about the new Starforged Legends cards. Funnily enough, if you watch the Darkness Evolve video, look more at the Darkness Evolve cards than the actual cards for Starforged Legends. These are pretty decent classes. Dragon, I feel like, kind of wonky, and it's kind of lost its place as the deck with a lot of late game cards, because looking at the other classes, I was playing Dragon one day against a Shadow. There were so many bombs going either way, and I was playing against Shadow, not considered to have a lot of large followers. Dragon just has large followers that are bad, that you don't want to draft. Shadow has more consistent play. Dragon, I just don't feel is that great. Sword, I've always loved. Sword, it's just the most consistent class in my opinion. Has probably the least amount of really bad cards. Shadow has a lot of cards that deal with necromancy and stuff. Though they did lose Midnight Haunt, which is one of the worst rares you could ever get, I think, in Shadow, unless somehow you draft the Tyrant as well. Then there's some memes there. That's actually a pretty powerful deck. I think we'll go ahead and stay in the comfort zone, drafting the Sword, see what new cards we have. I don't really think the new legendaries, maybe the golds, are pretty good. I don't really remember. Okay. I don't think these are particularly good on this side, but we will see here. Let's see. On the right side we have Castle in the Sky and then Bahamut. I also probably just drafting the Bahamut. Maisie Red. Getting a neutral follower is actually pretty plausible, but 1-drops aren't very good. Unsheathed Blade. I think this card's actually probably pretty good. Maybe not though. I think the right side is a little worse. And then looking at the Sword, I just said Sword doesn't have that many bad cards, and we've been seeing some pretty bad cards early on. Kiss of the Princess is a little inconsistent for my liking. Ooh, Jolly Roger. Cyclone Blade is actually pretty good in Take-Two. Jolly Roger is also a very powerful card. But Monica, 5.55 with a solid ability. Old Man and Old Woman, one of the more powerful evolves. King of the Horned Crown seems like a decent card to have in a deck. I really like Simone. I do not want to be drafting these 5-drops. Ninja Master is okay. Tristan I don't really like. This is notably a commander, so it's going to turn on some commander synergies. But I will definitely go here. 5-drops. Sword has Luminous Mage. I'm hoping for as many Luminous Mages as possible. One of the more powerful cards. Okay, let's see. Rampaging Mammoth, just a 7/8, right? Just fine, but we already have 2 large drops. I think Gruff is certainly the most powerful card here. I don't know if Pure Heart Singer is very good in... I'm gonna go here actually. I'm gonna go for a more control-y style. These 3 drops, none of them were particularly good, especially with our low 2-drop count so far. This is interesting. So Momo is pretty good in Take-Two. Probably one of the more powerful. Probably I think Gino is a little more powerful, more consistent, but Momo just can swing games by so much. Your opponent plays an Imperial Mammoth, or in this case, the new card Rampaging Mammoth, and you just take it out for 3 play points. So much value. But Gino and Princess Juliet, they're just a little more consistent. Well, mostly with the Gino. Tristan is not as good at Swordship Maiden, so we'll go left. We're looking for some 2-drops, and here we have Wandering Bard Alta. I don't think I really, even though I want 2-drops, I don't know if I really want another 8-drop. Halbindi is, you know, absurdly, 5.55 is already, you know, pretty good stats, and then that Enhanced 7 is just seems amazing, you know, it seems like such a good ability. So we're gonna be wanting to fill up the early curve with some decent cards. Another Tristan. I don't even think I've ever triggered Tristan in Take-Two, even though every one of my decks seems to, you know, just get a Tristan. I think I'll go with the Blitz Lancer over the Thief, just a way to, you know, cobble our way back into the game. You know, a little bit of early removal. Jeez, man, what is with this deck? Hamsa, just, you know, with the Test of Strength, I just think the left was the pick there. We really want 2s and 4s. Here we go. What is Flail Knight? Nope, we will go with the 2s and 4s. We just want some 2s and 4s. Maybe a removal, you know, a Shield of Flame would be nice. There's a Shield of Flame, wow. So everything's coming up. Even though I would really like to have this Momo, I think 2-drops are at a premium, and Cyclone Blade. Looking at our deck, does this say Follower, Swordcraft, or Officer? Okay, so it could be anything. I think there's a case for the left pile, because these cards are both situationally very powerful, versus these on the right more consistent, but I'll just go with the more consistent cards, especially since they're 2-drops, which is exactly what we're looking for. I don't like Rapunzel, but Lyriel's good, and those other cards kind of clunky. The Mystic Ring is pretty bad in this deck, and the draw spell is, you know, a draw spell. Ooh, okay, so certainly this is not a spring cleaning deck. I don't even think there's a spring cleaning deck in existence. How many neutral followers do we have? So the Rapunzel, which is not very good. Pure-Hearted Singer, Melissa, Lyriel, Gruff, Halbindi, Rampaging Mammoth. Okay, so we have a decent amount. I'm mostly drafting this for the Art of the Ninja, and Ninja Master, just whatever. So Roundtable Assembly. I don't even know if we have commanders. I mean, it's obviously this side. This side is extremely powerful. We'll definitely go with that. But the Hero of Antiquity is also, you know, actually probably better than some of the other cards that the Take-Two. Just because it's able to, you know, trade so efficiently, and it trades in with like bigger things, which is where it's slotted in the on the curve, and it just survives. It doesn't die to any, you know, removal spells, so it'll probably be, you know, have a good chance of trading in the next turn too, which is pretty nice. We will see what is up here, so we can get into a game. And there is the game here. Nephthys, which particularly bad in Take-Two Arena, I would say. Not a very good one. It is still in Take-Two. I believe it came out in Rage of Bahamut, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Tempest. I do remember it not coming out in Darkness Evolved. Okay. Apparently our internet is not doing pretty well. Even though in the previous video it was doing pretty well, this video not doing too well. I'll probably have a timestamp in this video to skip the draft. It's already been 9 minutes, you know. It doesn't feel like I've been recording for 9 minutes, but it has been 9 minutes. Looking at this deck, I think it looks like a 3-2 or a 4-1 to me. I think the power level of the cards are pretty high. They're just more about the consistency, and just honestly, a lot of decks have, you know, really high power level cards in Take-Two these days. There's going to be our first game. Let's see what we go against. It's going to be another Erica, so Swordcraft as well. Going second, which I think is fine. Gino is, not as good going second. I think we just don't want it. We have a lot of 3-drops, yeah, but not these. It's a little risky, but I kind of just want to go, 2, 3, and then go from there. Just get those 2s and 3s that we did draft. I guess one of the good things about, Juliet is that on turn 8 you can go Juliet into Tristan, which Tristan, I mean, 5 play points. If you get a 3/4 that turns into 3/4, it's pretty good, but come on. I don't know if this is internet or my opponent just playing really slow. Just a really sucky part. Oh boy. Why does it have to be this way? No 1-drop, so we're gonna be able to just do that. So we got the Kuhulan, which I wish they changed it to a Lancer, because that is the Fate tie-in reward. It is gonna be Lancer here, but it is what it is. I don't think our opponent just plays slow to play slow. So in one of these cases, an Oathless Knight would have been pretty cool. So which one has the Iron upside? I guess Kuhulan has. They're both enhanced 6. Simone is going to be better if we get Zerg down by our opponent, which honestly could be possible. I think playing Simone here is better because we don't have anything to rush into. So the rush would be wasted. Our opponent could play a 2/3. Sword doesn't really have many 2/3s off the top of my head. I think Fencer, I don't know if Fencer is actually legal in Take 2. So they're just going to play a Shield of Flame. Not dealing 6 because of the nerf. But still, a fine place to be, I think, for us. Could play a Castle in the Sky. So the problem here is our hand really sucks. Kind of wish we kept that Gino here. Because we cannot guarantee even a play next turn. This is definitely the safer play to just trade out there. Other option was to play the Castle in the Sky, see what our opponent did, and then hope to have, a second 2-drop, a Lyrial there would have been off the top, would be sick. It would have been taking out the Kunoichi trainee and whatever our opponent played. That would be sick, but on 3 here, we're not looking too good. Luckily, our opponent plays a Shrouded Assassin. Well, not really luckily, but our opponent does play a Shrouded Assassin, which doesn't have a lot of power. Well, we'll just go ahead and play a 4-play point 3/3, the Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty has actually rotated out, because Darkness Evolved has rotated out. If our opponent decides to go face, doesn't evolve, plays just a really large follower. If our opponent trades in, that would be very bad. They're gonna decide to go face, it seems. We have our White General live, which we do. Have the opportunity to slam down this Tristan. And although we're trading like this, getting as much value as we can out of the Tristan is kind of what we're looking for here. Our opponent's down an evolve point. They're playing Sword, however, they could easily have a bunch of Storm cards, like an Albert, which I kind of suspect. Lion Champion. That's actually not the worst card for us to see. We do have the removal in hand to deal with it. It's going to cost us the Tristan. So this is 5/6, which is really annoying. If this had one more attack, we could do some stuff. Unfortunately here, It's not going to cost us an evolve point. We're going to cast the Castle in the Sky, which seems pretty bad. Our hand, we're still in a very bad position. Like our opponent has, you know, a lot of options to be playing here, and they actually have, you know, card advantage, I would say, because Castle in the Sky is just going to be doing nothing probably. Because it only gives allied Swordcraft followers, so Bahamut proccing it is actually just not even give Bahamut Storm, which, you know, I'm sure they thought about that when they were creating the card, maybe. So Simone is one of the cards we did not want to see here. What does this do? Deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower 2 times. This card's gonna be... of course we would get a second one after. I was just gonna say how, you know, talk about how good the card actually was gonna be. Potentially. But so it goes to an 8/9, which is certainly enough to take out everything except for Hero of Antiquity. And it's going to be able to clear, if our opponent, you know, floods the board with smaller followers, we're in a really nice position. White Rich Swordsman is certainly not the card we want to see. We're not in a good position. Best card would be a Shield of Flame. Rapunzel. I think we just have to go with the Rampaging Mammoth here. We're in a pretty bad position, I would say. Oh, this is an Evolve. We are pretty lucky that that happened. For some reason I read that it did at the end of the turn, but if even one of those hit the other thing. Tina is kind of annoying. Sector is fine. So we certainly have a chance here. I'm not saying we're in the greatest of position, but we have the Albert. Certainly the play is to go there. Probably going to play the Bahamut. I mean, I don't see a reason why not. I guess we technically don't really have to. Jeez. Well, we certainly found a reason to play the Bahamut. Without an Albert left. There are still a lot of cards that I'm worried about, but you do just have to go ahead and slam down the dragon. Our opponent has a lot of cards. You know, they're playing sword. We don't have any removal, so the Bahamut's likely not going to be a 2-turn kill at that. You know, there's ambushy cards. Old man and old woman. Oh man. Ooh, Hellbindi. I think that's going to deal at the end of your turn. Yep. That's actually one of the better draws we could have had. We're just gonna go ahead and drop Samurai, I think. So yeah, no, Hellbindi at the end of the turn. Okay, you know, I just need to start reading cards correctly. Hopefully that doesn't cost us the game if our opponent has 3 points of Storm, which is unlikely, but at the end of your turn, deal 2 damage. See, this one doesn't deal 2 times 2 damage. This one just deals 2 damage to an enemy and then the enemy follower. Definitely have to be reading cards. Did get a nice win there. Bahamut was you know, it's still a beating, even though, you know, there's a decent amount of cards. Dance of Death notably no longer in the format because Darkness Evolves rotation. So one less answer. Call of Kite is still, you know, a reasonably seen card in the metagame. So, like in your draft pool, which is so decent amount of removal. Sword has, you know, Ogre Hunter, Momo, now Kulin or whatever. Go ahead and get that going here. Take a drink of water. Shadowcraft. Well, Juliet, not particularly that great or bad, but usually, you know, keeping 1 3-drop is usually good enough. Because 2 3-drops gets a little clunky. You'd rather have more 2-drops, which is we definitely have a lot of 2-drops so far. So we have a question of playing Lyriel or Samurai. Samurai gets +1/+1 Bane. Our opponent is decently likely to have 3 or more followers in play because they're Shadow, but I think the evolve effect of Lyriel is just, you know, outweighs, you know, the effect of Samurai. Samurai's never been good, even with the effect, in my opinion. So we can decide to put some damage towards the face. Technically, we have, you know, 2 options here. We can go, or 3 options. We can trade off here, not go put any damage towards the face, which I think is actually fine here, even though we're against Shadow. So we could have put 2 damage to the face, kept a 2/2 by trading a 3/2 into 2/2, or we could have a 3/2 and have no damage towards the face. And in this case, it looks like the play that I've made looks a little better. If we even decide to go for that. I don't really like any of the plays in my hand right now. I actually like just going like this, even though it's not mana efficient. In this case, what we can do on the next turn, like playing two drops is not necessarily the most favorable at most times, and especially if your opponent can just play Lyriel, you feel horrible. There's just many ways for our opponent to be punishing any of this. So Gloaming Tombs, looking at the card Gloaming Tombs, that is certainly one of the cards I would say is pretty bad. That Shadow can get, one of the new bad cards. Haunted House was one of the other cards, maybe. Here we could play Tristram. I kind of want to try to get a little bit of value. If our opponent did have an answer last turn, maybe they won't have an answer this turn. We're not going to evolve or anything. Maybe they have a little Soul Squasher, but would just be pretty hard to pull off here. Our opponent would need a removal spell plus an evolve, which is kind of possible, but what 5-drop could they really play? That is a 5-drop that they could play, I suppose. We're trying to go for a little bit of more of a value game here. Certainly going to slam down the Tristan here, and then we do have a choice if we want to trade into this, which is much more conservative play. I think we'll go for that. Our hand is pretty good towards the late game. We're putting a little bit of pressure on our opponent, and we're forcing them to trade into what we're doing. Kind of the advantages of going first. At the end of this, if we can try to get, you know, be up an evolve point, that would be really nice. If we don't have to waste an evolve point next turn on the Roland, that would be really nice. If that's our opponent's only play, that'd be nice too. And they choose not to evolve for some reason. Ascetic Knight. So they're getting a lot of shadows, which, I mean, if, you know, their deck is more necromancy based, it's a fine play on our opponent's part. Otherwise, it's not that great. I'm really hoping to draw, you know, a 3 through 5 drop. You know, I'm spotting Lyriel. That's the card I want to play. There is a 3 through 5 drop if I've ever seen one. That is the perfect card, actually. Lyriel is going to be able to ping this off. We're now in a really nice position. Our opponent could have a Cowie, though, you know, one of the more annoying cards to see. We do have a lot of followers on the board though, which is really nice. Calvi would just, you know, be really annoying. I don't remember if that actually rotated out from Darkness Evolved. I'm trying to think back. No, it's possible. We will see. Just gonna check our opponent. So they're in the purple one. I think that's single A rank. I always like to check that, you know, just in case. Twilight Queen. What is? I don't even know this card. The next time an allied follower last word activates, activate that one more time. But it has to have last word itself. Okay. So the play here is definitely to go there. Maybe not. I don't know if that's the right play. Probably is. This Tross Curse. Okay. So unless our opponent has like a super serious, you know, last words ability, and we just drew Albert, so we could put our opponent to 1. I don't see a reason to do that right now. Just go ahead and do that. Hit them for 3. So let's look at Troth's Curse again. Destroy an allied follower and an enemy follower. Okay. So I was just looking. So Shadowverse, pretty sure Hearthstone as well, doesn't really have a multi-select option. I just kind of think that was kind of a multi-select option, but not really. Still looking pretty good, you know. Our opponent has had this Gloaming Tombs forever. Nothing to do with their shadows. And we were looking pretty good in that case right there. A nice victory here. I think I will actually go ahead and cut this video into 2 parts. Maybe I won't though. I'll definitely have timestamps in on editing the time in between. It's not that long of time, and you know, we can go ahead and chit chat, talk about Shadowverse, talk about my thoughts about Starforged Legends. This deck that I've drafted looks, honestly, looks pretty fun. You know, cards are getting a lot more powerful, which is maybe one of the reasons why they like power creep is obviously, I think, you know, back in the day 2-play.22, very good card. Now they're 2-play.22 with a lot of upside, you know, whatnot. 5-play points, Luminous Mage is an absurd card in Take 2. The cards are just getting better, so maybe that's why the side games is implementing some of these worse cards. You know, Gloaming Boot. Of course, it's gonna be for constructed, but maybe it's something they could have. I guess like at bronze you're gonna see it more often, but at silver you expect more powerful cards. Though at silver, they aren't necessarily more powerful cards. At higher rarities, against another sword, playing second. Even though these are good cards, I'd rather just try and get cards in the early game. Juliet is not necessarily the most favorable card. I would definitely prefer a Blitz Lancer here. Looks like the internet's doing a lot better. Maybe not a lot better. No, Juliet here looks even worse, because we drew the White General, which is a lot better playing first, so you can try and guarantee to have a follower. So our opponent doesn't have anything, which is basically the perfect scenario for us. If our opponent plays like a 2-health follower, we're just going to trade into it with the Juliet. Blitz Lancer, opponent probably will trade in. Kind of like a mini decision here. You can play Juliet, which I think we will. I like the mana efficiency of having these cards up, but our other play would have been played to play Simone and pump it with the White General, but I expect our opponent to have something here. Let's see, Blitz Lancer would have taken out the Simone anyways. I don't mind just playing the Simone. It discourages our opponent from, you know, necessarily evolving and taking it out, which we kind of want to keep it around for the White General here. Looks like that was a bad play on our part, because your opponent just goes and plays Kunoichi Master, which I wasn't really thinking of. This is still the play though. Our opponent's gonna get a nice trade, but we do have a lot of tools in our hand still. Our opponent didn't play like a 2-drop, so I think our opponent's hand is gonna be maybe 1 spell per turn, but you know, pretty decently powerful spells. Our hand's a little clunky, I would say. Our opponent just does have, you know, easy trades, but our opponent kind of has to wonder, you know, Unsheathed Blade. So that's kind of one of the combos that, you know, I was thinking of when, you know, looking at Unsheathed Blade. Three to 4-drop would be cool here. It's a little interesting. So this thing is an 8-drop. So we could play around our opponent not having another one, which I think is what I like. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Or it does, yeah, because it'll deal 1 damage to all enemy followers and attacks. I do kind of like going for this play here. Putting the 1 damage towards the face. This is obviously really bad if our opponent has another one of those the rush cards. I don't think it's a good card. I don't know if you really draft 2, and you know that is probably one of the best followers to give rush. So otherwise, you know, Monica's, you know, probably pretty amazing here. There's a lot of good plays for our opponent. Pollux on an empty board is not necessarily the best one for our opponent, I would say. It's actually very nice for us if our opponent doesn't kill the samurai, or just in general. Nice iced tea there. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to random enemy 2 times. Okay. So we could go for the 75% chance. I think we're just gonna go safe here. So it does 2 damage to a random enemy, not 2 and 2. It just has a chance of hitting the opponent in the face. On 8 play points, you know, our opponent just probably has good cards. Moho is a very nice one for our opponent. If they can follow it off with a 5-drop, it's going to be really nice. Support Cannon. That is an interesting one. So we know our opponent has the, what it's called, King of the Horned Crown. Support Cannon's going to deal 7 damage upon entering. I think we're fine gonna play the Roland here. I actually like playing the Roland here better, even though Roland's definitely gonna trade out the Support Cannon and just upon entering the battlefield for free. It's gonna ping Roland for 1 and then deal the remaining 4 damage to Roland to kill her. But I really need Rampaging Mammoth to be able to trade in, and unfortunately the Bahamut, maybe we won't be as lucky this game with the Bahamut. But the Bahamut's gonna have to kill the Durandal, which kind of matters in this case, because we have a lot of large followers. Old man and old woman. Now that's an interesting play out of our opponent. They definitely recognize that we were probably playing in a way to play around what we knew was in their hand. In this case, there isn't really a good play for us. I don't mind playing the Tristram as just, you know, a decent follower, and we did save the Shield of Flame here. which is again allow us to do that. The worst card we could see out of our opponent is a removal spell for Bahamut, because we'll probably be playing Bahamut next turn. Hero of Antiquity. That's one of the cards we also did not want to see. Is that a follower? Or sorry, so Hero of Antiquity is actually interesting enough in Officer. Does this hit the face? Deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower 2 times. So this doesn't actually hit face, so you won't be able to get 2 face damage. This is probably the play here. This should put enough pressure on our opponent to play their card. Play their I keep forgetting what the name is. You know, I even drafted in the deck. I'm like, what is going on, man? I can't even access into the battle log anymore because it's been too many turns. Well then, hopefully here it is, King of the Horned Crown. We did take that provision into account, so our opponent needs like a Call of Cocytus, a Momo, a lot of cards. We're just gonna go slam this down. If our opponent doesn't have an answer, they're just dead. Otherwise, our hand plays pretty well against a lot of cards our opponent has. We have Old Man and Old Woman and Monica as a play, which is pretty nice. Gruff Mountaineer Captain. If it gains Bane, it has a chance. Uriel, nope. Looks like Bahamut is still a good card in Take 2. Surprisingly. Maybe it's because I haven't played against too much of Bahamut. The few times that I do play against Bahamut, I would say there's like a 60 or 70% chance that I actually win the game against Bahamut. Maybe it's because of the types of decks I play though, you know, removal heavy. I always love drafting removal spells. You didn't really get to like hard removal, like Call of Cocytus, Dance of Death. You know, Shadow has the Void Call or Call of the Void or something. That also has Necromancy 4 to summon a skeleton. There's just like a lot of different things that can go on here. Oh baby, getting into the game. 3-0, so prediction of 3-2 and 4-1. You know, they definitely stand. Bloodcraft. So Blood's actually an interesting one here. My experience, they're not very good. Monica's actually, you definitely want Monica on turn 5 all the time. So the problem is no 2-drop, and we're playing first, so we probably want to mull it into something like a 2-drop. If we mull, probably mull the whole hand. I think it's better just to mull the whole hand in general. This hand isn't particularly good. Wish the Albert was a Monica in this case. And here is our very own King of the Horned Crown. Blood. At the beginning of Wonderland Dreams expansion, I definitely thought Blood was the most powerful. Oh man, our hand is looking really bad. Maybe we should have kept some of the cards in that hand. It's usually fine to keep a 3-drop in my opinion if you're playing first. We're really looking for just a playable spell. Not that, but I'm gonna deploy the castle on this guy. We're not looking too good here. But we will see what the top of our deck brings us. Our opponent looks like the end of their turn as well, which is good for us. Just gonna slam down the Simone here. Just want to, you know, get a board presence, stall out. We have a lot of late game. But Blood, you know, just hasn't been, you know, at the beginning of Wonderland Dreams, I definitely felt it to be very powerful. I got a couple 5-0s, which I don't really get 5-0s very often. Got a couple 5-0s. You know, 2 to 4 with just, you know, playing Blood. So, ooh. So although we will be behind in evolution points, I still think we have to go for the play. Like, we're at a pretty severe disadvantage for evolve points here, but like we just have to go for these types of plays. Opponent, 5 play points is, the turn you're thinking, Big Knuckle Bodyguard, Scarlet Sabror, this is the turn. And that they both be trading for our entire board. Looks like Vlad is something that also trades with our entire board, basically. We don't really have a good play. That is certainly the best card that I could see. Besides, a Jolly Roger getting ward, maybe. We're looking to be in like a decent position. We're still behind like 2 cards and an evolution point. I don't know where we're going to be able to make up that. Albert's, certainly going to be a fine card. We're probably going to have to evolve the Rampaging Mammoth. It would be one of the cards I prefer to evolve. Our hand is not great. Our next turn looks like we're only casting 1 spell. Something like an Art of Ninja would be pretty decent if our opponent uses an evolve point here. To be able to play Art of Ninja with a Juliet, which would be, totally fine card as long as it clears our opponent's board. What is Venomous Bite? Okay. Venomous Bite's actually, thinking it back to Constructed, looking for a blood deck to build, sort of like a Medusa type of deck. Medusiana type of deck. Venomous Bite is one of the cards I would like to play in Control Blood. Pretty useful there. I think we'll just go for this. Play a couple followers. Interestingly enough, our Castle in the Sky is, close to proccing, sort of. So the thing with Castle in the Sky is, like, it gives +1/+1 Storm to all allied followers, but it procs. Oh my god. Oh, that's pretty disgusting. Steno. It is certainly going to cost us our evolve here. Maybe not, though. I think I want to go for this. And then we have the option to either... So we have the option to evolve and trade into this or not. We know our opponent has 1 Serpent. I think we're going to go ahead and not actually evolve here. I don't think we're in a very good position. It looks like Blood has some pretty good cards. Actually, just looking at the Blood cards, a lot of the, like, when you look at like the new set, you're kind of looking for, a minimum amount of cards that do nothing. So like in the last one with the two Playpoint Amulet that gets a shadow when a follower enters the battlefield, that's not a very good card. Castle in the Sky, not a very good card. Thinking back on some of the Blood cards, I don't think there's that many cards that are not good. Hamsa is kind of annoying there. Opponent probably has to evolve here. Or remove it. Big Knuckle Bodyguard. That actually is kind of an interesting play here. Geno? So technically we could get a bunch of 2/2s. I think that actually complicates things a lot. Our opponent chose not to use an evolution point. So if I play Geno, I think both the 1/1s are going to get the +1/+1. Go ahead and try that, actually. gonna go down there. Gonna see. I think both 1/1 should get the boost because they enter at the same time. Which is true. I think I do want to get 2 damage to the face. I don't know if that was necessarily the best play, but we could potentially suspect our opponent to deal 1 point of damage to themselves. Putting them at 11 means they're not a vengeance. They might want to put themselves into vengeance to get a large advantage. Albert is going to be able to surprise them because I don't think you ever play around Albert. Uriel is fine. Owlcat is fine. But certainly here our opponent is going to have to choose to evolve. Like, there's no way you wouldn't choose to evolve. Depending if our opponent plays anything, depending on what we draw, I guess, as well. Art of the Ninja. Okay, I think that's certainly the play here. That was a pretty nice draw for us. Gonna be able to keep our evolve point. Same situation as we were in last turn. Our opponent's gonna be able to, you know, maybe come up with something to deal 1 damage to their face. Maybe not, they don't have a ward. Maybe they just play a 7/5. Albert, you know, picking up the game. That's kind of one of the reasons, you know, Albert, you know, it can be played as a 5-drop. I like to see it a lot of the time as, you know, a 9-drop. Even if you don't evolve, you know, 6 points of burst is crazy good. Get some Saber strikes. And it looks like our opponent cannot dodge that. They did not have a ward to block that. Which is pretty good for us. That Art of the Ninja was the very best card we could have drawn there. Giving us an ally to remove the ward efficiently of 3 health. And go ahead and summon a 4/4 with ambush. Pretty good. So we definitely either got, you know, a 4/1 or a 5/0 here. I'm definitely looking for a 5/0. This is actually my first Star Forge Legends draft for Take 2 Arena. Been playing a lot more of the constructed format in this case because, you know, the cards are new, like opening packs. It's just a great time. The rewards in Shadowverse, I think, are, you know, the rewards. Usually if you get 1 win, you get, I think, between 20 and 30 rupees. Then it's like between 40 and 50 for 2 wins, 60 and 80 for 3 wins. Then 4 wins, you get a decent amount. I think I think I've been getting like 100 to 130. But then if you get 5 wins, it's like 250 to 300 rupees, which is kind of insane. And I think you also get 2 packs with that. So I would love to be able to load into a game first and then win that game second. I don't actually necessarily know how the matchmaking works in Shadowverse. Looks like gonna get a server messed up here, but you know, it is what it is. We're gonna load into, you know, easy game, easy life. We want to win a game. I think I've been playing, you know, okay, not the worst, not the best. We're gonna try and reconnect there. Now loading. Please match us for a good matchup. But it looked like our Blood opponent had a lot of, you know, pretty decent cards. Sword is just, you know, I think a good matchup against Blood. Sword, anything with Storm against Blood and Take 2 is going to be pretty good. Anything with, like, you know, sticky things. Which is, you know, I guess a lot of cards in Shadowverse. A lot of classes have, you know, Storm. Maybe Rune is a good matchup for Blood, but then again, with Rune is maybe not that good. Maybe it is good, though. There's that 2/1 that adds a card to your hand at the end of the turn, which is particularly good. Playing first with that card, you can just accrue, you know, at least 2 cards most games, which is insane. Mercenary Drifter, that is a card I have not seen in a long time. I don't actually recall if that's a card that can be drafted. I'm not sure if that was in Darkness Evolved, or I think I remember drafting that in draft a long time ago, but maybe they've tried the draft, changed up the draft format a decent amount of times. Dragoncraft, decently annoying craft, you know. They have a decent amount of removal. I think here I just want more early game cards. I don't remember, maybe Fire Lizard was actually in Darkness Evolved. You can actually go ahead and I'll just check that out right now. Search that. Well, we just end our turn because we don't have any 1-drops. Search that up. It's possible. That's one of the more punishing cards that we could play against if we decide to use the Evolicia. So we just want to kind of check that out. So that's actually a standard card. So it is still a card we have to play around. I think it's a reasonable chance that our opponent could have that card. But do I want to play around it? I think we don't play around it. And the thought behind that is Lyriel is going to be able to get us back to 2 for 1. If our opponent goes for that, it means they're not playing a 3-drop. Here, they're playing a 2-drop, which could be fine. And our opponent didn't play it last turn. Sword doesn't really have a way to punish the Fire Lizard on turn 2. Star Phoenix, okay. That's an interesting card. It's a pretty cool card. It's going to give us our opponent, a lot of supply of 2/2 rushes, which in the late game is going to be pretty powerful. Though they are going to have to cast a spell, which Dragon has a decent amount of them in terms of like cycling cards, healing, and ramp cards, and some removal. But so we're playing the Old Man and Old Woman here because we have White General. Blazing Breath is kind of an annoying card to see there because of that exact reason. So we have we always have a couple options. I say that all the time, but you're still looking at a few options. I think my favorite play is just to trade this out like here, like that. We don't waste an evolve. Our opponent on 5 play points, the real punish here would maybe be the Venomous Pewsworm, just getting a super huge follower that we can't deal with. That could actually lose us the game if our opponent does go for that sort of play. Otherwise, looking at our hand, I'm looking to play Lyriel into Princess Juliet. Hopefully Lyriel can, trade off something here, and we can have a Lyriel and a Princess Juliet survive, and then follow with some sort of Swordship Maiden, Ephemera. Okay. 5-drop, please. No. I mean, I do think that this has to be the play. Our opponent's kind of showing us that they have a lot of late game cards. I just don't want to go too aggressive with the evolves here to put too much damage towards the face, especially with an Ephemera on the board. Dragon Summoner is, pretty annoying card. Griffin Knight. Fear the dragon's power, they say. We're not in a great position here. We don't really have a nice way to get back into the game. Swordship Maiden, is a decent 6-drop. It does just trade for opponent's board though. Sorry, I'm running out a little bit of the commentary here, Don't know what to say. There's, okay, cool. Connection unstable. I kind of predicted a little bit. think we'll hold on to it for now. Just want to go ahead and get a large follower presence on the board. Save the Cahulan, you know, ability for, you know, something a little more powerful. We're not looking great on the board. I think Bahamut is going to be one of the more powerful cards for us to deploy. You know, the internet, sorry guys, but just like the internet's so bad. Foreign internet just is what it is. Actually in China right now on exchange. So I'm actually playing on a VPN. And, you know, school internet, which, you know, it can never be that great, right? School internet, what are they going to provide you? Jeez. Just exorbitantly slow. Probably have to reset the router or something, but since we're at such, you know... How can it be so bad? Like... Beowulf destroy an enemy fall with at least 5 defense. Well, that's a little unfortunate, if you ask me. It looks like turns are passing a little faster, which is nice. Samurai is actually pretty decent here. But then I don't get to play Cahulan. It's just bad news bears. What is the play? I guess this is the play. Well, that certainly was not the play, but should have definitely played the Samurai first. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe just we've been playing for a while. The internet's slow. I'm slowing down a little here. It shouldn't really matter. Maybe it matters a little bit. We're just biding our time. Hopefully our opponent just, you know, we're hoping our opponent to just play super large followers. Our opponent making that play signals to us that they may just want to play a large follower, you know, getting rid of the Bane. If our opponent had, you know, a bunch of like medium, you know, 3-drop followers, you know, whatnot, they might not go for that play. Draconic Singer. Okay. So this gives our King of the Horned Crown, a decent entrance here. Now whether or not we actually want to attack in here, it's a good question. It's gonna be, geez, against +4 so. I think I'm actually gonna decide to do this. We aren't in a horrible position. We get 4 defense. That's gonna be playing around the Beowulf or whatever our opponent had actually. They do have a, you know, they could play like a Bahamut here, a Zeus, a 10-drop. They've definitely reduced the cost of that though. Goblin Mage is a fine card for us to see. If our opponent doesn't have a way to deal with our 9/4, we're actually going to be able to. That looks good for us there. In terms of clearing a lot of our opponent's board, and then they just had an Elder Tortoise. You know, we're looking a little good, and then they just had an Elder Tortoise. Well, I mean, just been one of those games. We're just gonna drop the Rampaging Mammoth. I like holding the Cahulan in hand as a way to deal with a lot of different things. That is not one of the cards I want to see. I actually like seeing the Draconic Lance there. That's actually very preferable card for us to see there. It's going to mean -1 removal spell for our opponent. Though dragons still can have other removal spells. They're not going to be adding those cards to their hand in those 3 cards, because I think the Stairway has to add followers. It's something like Dragoon Scyther, I guess, you know, kind of trumps what I said, but there's really no way for me to have played around that. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have another 3-drop. I mean, of course they do, but that's not the worst 3-drop to see. We're in a pretty bad spot. We still have some nice top decks though. We're definitely not going to play the Kahul in here. See what our opponent does. Our hand is not looking too good. I don't think we're going to be winning this. Opponent just had, you know, there's just so many, they've had so many ways to just like get cards onto the battlefield. Get cards into their hand. Here we're going to be able to, looks like, take out Halbindi. Wow. Halbindi is going to be a good card. The only way to deploy 2 threats, which is definitely what we want to do, is to play Kahulin, which is certainly the card to play. What am I gonna put it on? We can put it on the Ninja Master here. Ooh, this card loses Bane. Okay, well, I didn't necessarily read that carefully enough. So it actually loses Bane, which makes our play, you know, pretty horrible. Opponent does goes face, which means they probably have lethal or just a Wrath Drake. So we're gonna have to hope for a little bit of RNG here. Basically, we're gonna play the Halbindi. Hopefully it hits the Wrath Drake twice. Literally the worst card that we can see, but might as well play it. Ooh, that is probably one of the worst things we could see. Opponent probably has lethal here. If they don't have lethal, I mean, ooh, that's jeez, man, Dragon just has pretty good cards this expansion, it seems. I mean, Dragoon Scyther is still there. I mean, we needed Albert here to stabilize it at all, basically. We might as well play the Simone. We'll play up, you know, one more turn here. Technically, we're not dead on board, so I'm pretty sure we're dead. Like, anything kills us here. There's so many cards that kill us. That is one of the cards as well. Our opponent just had so much card advantage, man. Like, all these cards just like drew extra cards. It was just like kind of insane. Maybe Dragon's actually a good deck, who knows? But like, you know, clunker cards like Castle in the Sky, like, this card has not been good at all. It's a rare. It's one of Swordcraft's worst cards, for sure. Unfortunately, we did not end up getting that 5-0 there. A predictable 4-1, I would say. We're at an hour in, which is, you know, kind of crazy. Recording for an hour, you know, more than even like a discussion video, just playing Take-Two. 130? Yeah, 130, there we go. And it's gonna be a Starforged Legends pack, so might as well go ahead and open that up. Open those, that one pack of Starforged Legends up. I do have a Take-Two ticket already, so we'll probably end up just, you know, spending all the rupees. You know, if I get a legendary, you know, that's gonna shave off 3,500 vials of what I need to build the deck. I'll probably build that deck. Well, we will see though. You know, I'm still missing a lot of the gold cards, obviously. Nothing there, not even a gold, unfortunately. I think the 4 play point Golem in Runecraft is also pretty interesting. I think it's a 4 play point one. But the gold Golem Runecraft is card we might want to see. we'll go ahead and I've opened about 40 to 50 Starforge Legends packs, I would say. Closer to 40. And no, we're not looking for the luck on camera. I don't think we've even opened. We opened the 1 gold Venus in the previous video at the beginning of the video. But I hope everyone enjoyed. I definitely do not have any of these. I think someone calculated on Reddit is about a 1 in 400. I've certainly not opened 400 packs of Starforge Legends. I would certainly love to get these cards, but I would also love to get, other cards. Haven't really liked the constructed here, so if we want to just dive into the collection, if somehow somebody, like, honestly, like, people say that, but they don't actually mean to know. Oh, somebody got this far. I actually mean it. Like, I know people do not come this far into our videos, but this is kind of a look at the Starforge Legends cards I have. So not a lot of cards. I'm missing a decent amount. Actually missing this card. This is the one of the cards that if it gets pumped, or yes, if it loses play points, so something with like a Saber might help it. I do not have any Staircase of Paradise. I'm kind of missing. Now I have 15,640 vials. If I liquefy extras, I'll have 15,890 vials. Chain of Calling is also an interesting one. That in terms of I see a lot of people have been playing that in the D shift. It's actually pretty good, I would think, because it gets your Levi's, gets your cards that you want. This is the card I was talking about being insane in Take-Two, and Runecraft has it, so that's how I definitely lost to a Runecraft player who played this in Take-Two. Just getting 2 cards out of it for free. It's just crazy. Do not have any Mars. It's kind of an interesting deck. I have seen the deck once. I was playing D shift, royally lost, but not because of the card, just because I was playing D shift. Europa doesn't really look like a very good card. There's also PDK, Prime Dragon Keeper, Trial of the Gorgons. This is a card I would consider crafting if I was gonna go for like a blood control type of deck, blood mid range, and then I would also need to get the Venom Fang Medusas as well. Twilight Queen, I don't think so. Keelan or something? Cheelan? Yeah. Hellbindi. 2 Venus and Barbarossa. Well, here's a Wild Golem, so 5 play point. It looks like a pretty cool Earthright card to be playing. Draconic Singer, I don't think is that good. Round Table Assembly. Cassiopeia, I mean, it's a card. Jormungand. It's pretty cool, but I think it's just hard to play around, hard to build a deck around the Zodiac Demon. But yeah, if anyone has any suggestions, somehow they're at the end of the video, and they just, this is my collection of Starforge Legends. If there's anything, my only Legends have so far been Mail of Obliteration, which is, and the 1/8 of the White Wing, which is a little unfortunate. I've been through 40 plus packs. I mean, I know people have had much worse luck and much better luck, but in my opinion, not the luckiest, not that bad. Decent amount of gold cards, but if anyone has any suggestions for what I can do, please leave a comment, and I hope everyone has enjoyed this super long video, and remind everyone to like, comment, subscribe, and see you later.